He's telling us to get this show on the road.
Yep. I call to order the regular meeting of Mount Pleasant City Commission, Monday, July 11th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Bow, can you please take the roll?
Commissioner Alsager?
Here.
Commissioner Asman?
Here.
Commissioner Ake is absent. Commissioner Ronan is absent. Commissioner Bush is absent. Vice Mayor Simon?
Here.
Mayor Perschbacher?
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, we do not have any proclamations or presentations today. Oh, can we please correct the record and say that Commissioner Bush has just arrived? Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? If there's no additions or deletions to the agenda, can I get a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. All right, the agenda has been accepted. At this time, we're going to do public input on agenda items only. If you are here to speak on an agenda item, you may step to the podium, state your name, address, and you will have 5 minutes to present your comments. If you are joining by Zoom, you may use the raised hand feature or *9. When you are recognized, you will be moved into the meeting. You will have to state your name and your address, and then you'll be given 5 minutes for comments. Is there anyone that'd like to present? Hi, Bree.
Hello, good evening. Bree Mogenberg from Mount Pleasant. I would like to speak today about the childcare rules that are going to be considered. First, I want to give a thanks to William. I'm really sorry, William. I know you're not here, but I'm going to slaughter your last name, Merdeza. He did contact me back today because I had requested to see what the rule changes actually were. And upon speaking to him and listening to his explanation, I want to say that I completely support these changes for the child care centers. Now, I have a group home for child care, so I can't speak on behalf of the actual centers themselves, but I will say that as a provider in Isabella County, it's really hard to find daycare right now. And I know personally where I have had openings that have come open, and within 3 days, I have these openings fill, and people get very frustrated, meaning parents and people that are seeking daycare get very frustrated that they didn't get an opportunity to take those positions. So there is a need. And as a provider, I will tell you that licensing has enough rules that are really hard to meet. And by removing all of these extra rules that go along on the centers within the city of Mount Pleasant, it really will hopefully open up the opportunity for more businesses to open. So just to give you an example, something that maybe you're not aware of, with daycare, licensing says we have to have 400 square feet of outdoor space. The city of Mount Pleasant actually requires that we have 1,800 square feet of outdoor space. And if you're familiar with city lots in Mount Pleasant, there's probably not even a lot of city lots that have that much space. So there are a lot of rules that licensing has that keep the children safe and to do those. And if you remove those, I think we will still be completely acceptable and licensing will still be there every year and kids will be safe. So I do support those and I ask that you support those changes as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to come forward to the podium?
Hi, my name is Alex Swick. Most of you have heard from me already. I live here in Mount Pleasant out on Pickard Street. I just wanted to thank the members of the council this evening and the members of the traffic subcommittee, as well as City Manager DeSense, just for getting the braking ordinance, which I discussed last time, on tonight's agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience? Is there anyone on Zoom?
No raised hands.
I'm sorry, you broke up, Marianne.
There are no raised hands.
Okay, all I heard was hands at the end.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are there any emails?
No, they're not.
All right, at this time, I will close public input, and we will move on to receipts of petitions and communications. Manager dissents.
Yes. Receipt of petitions and communications includes monthly report on police-related citizen complaints received.
All right. We'll move on to the consent items. Is there any consent items the commission would like to remove and place in the agenda? All right. Manager dissents, please give us an overview of the consent items.
Yes. Consent items for this evening tonight includes approval of the minutes from the regular meeting held June 27, 2022. Consider resolution authorizing Michigan Art and Cultural Council 2023 Arts Project Mini Grant Submission for painting the intersections. Consider approval of employer delegate for Municipal Employees Retirement System annual meeting. Consider purchase of VACOL 2023 model street sweeper for $347,257, which will be received and budgeted for in fiscal year 2023. Consider purchase of Ventrac 2023 model tractor and trade-in of Polar Track for $67,303, which will be received and budgeted for in fiscal year 2023. And consider approval of payroll and warrants.
Okay, at this time, we're moving on to our one and only public hearing. No.
No.
Oh, you need a vote. I was saying that in my head, and then I was like, maybe not this time. Okay, so is there a motion to accept the consent items as presented?
So moved. Second.
All right, all those in favor say yes?
Yes.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. Now we're going to move on to the public hearing. The public hearing is on the ordinance to amend section 154.410.b.4 and table 154.410.a of the Michigan, or the Mount Pleasant Code of Ordinances regarding childcare centers and group daycare homes, and consider approval of the same. Manager dissents, can you please give us an overview?
Absolutely. The proposed zoning ordinance amendment will allow for group daycare homes and childcare centers to be permitted in more zoning districts within the city. The ordinance will also change the process for obtaining zoning approval from a special use circumstance to a permitted use, making it easier for an applicant to move forward with a request for approval such for these sort of facilities. The state of Michigan still maintains strict regulation of these facilities, and the proposed amendment does not affect those regulations. Following the public hearing, the City Commission is asked to approve the proposed ordinance change.
All right, with a public hearing, we will ask individuals to come forward if they'd like to speak in favor or oppose the change. If you would like to come forward and make a comment, please state your name and your address, and you'll be given 5 minutes. If you're joining us by Zoom, you may use the raised hand feature or *9 if you're joining Zoom by phone. On the Zoom, you'll be let into the meeting, and then you will be given a chance to speak once you state your name and address. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this? Is there anyone in Zoom?
There are no raised hands.
All right, at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission. Does the commission have any questions that they would like answered at this time? No? Okay. I will entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt text change 22-05.
Second. Okay. We have a motion to adopt the text change and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call.
Commissioner Alsager?
Yes.
Commissioner Bush?
Yes.
Commissioner Asman?
Yes.
Commissioner Simon,
Yes.
Mayor Pushbacher.
Yes. All right, so we have approved the text change for the ordinance to amend the section 154.410.b.4 and table 154.410.a. We'll move on to new business. At this time, we will have a presentation of the 2023 goals and objectives and consider an adoption of this.
Right. Good evening, everyone. Right. So this evening, I'm going to take the City Commission through a presentation on our 2023 goals and objectives. I'll talk a little bit about the process that led us to this point, and afterwards answer any questions, comments, or concerns with regard to the proposed goals and objectives, and then ask that the City Commission consider adopting the 2023 goals and objectives if they find that agreeable. So moving forward, a bit about the process that got us here this evening. So the City Commission certainly remembers our facilitator-led discussions with the senior management team, that being a team of myself, as well as the directors of Public Safety, Public Works, Community Services, Finance, and Human Resources. We had a series of meetings between City Commission, SMT, as well as the department heads in March and April of this year. That led to a final determination of the 2023 goals with the senior management team and the City Commission mid-April. From there, the senior management team and the departments all developed the final tactics and measurements for the goals and objectives. And here we are this evening for a hopefully final presentation before adoption. So the process, again, I think many of you recall seeing some of these charts. Certainly, I know that's some of your handwriting up there that led to this. Now, you'll notice that the wording that was used in these charts has been put into and sort of reworded for a comprehensive document to include our goals and objectives, as well as our tactics and measurables as well. So I'll start off with our first goal, and that is to maintain stable and financially responsible operations. Now, our operations are services to our residents and businesses. That's our core business function here at the city. So this goal has significantly more objectives tied to it because it just encompasses a lot more of what we do on a regular basis. For 2023, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but just to kind of highlight what we have here, the identification of future sites for commercial and industrial development, with the idea that we'll have future growth that will help our financial position into the future. It includes oversight of infrastructure projects and setting rates that support those operations. It includes the financial planning for future infrastructure needs, and it focuses on support services such as IT and human resources, which supports our core mission as well. All of these goals and objectives can be found in the document that is within your City Commission packet as well. Continue positive and productive relationships with community partners and residences and businesses. So there's a great focus on improving and enhancing our relationship with our external stakeholders, and that was the focus of this goal. One of the ways that we do that is through our social crisis advocacy program. 2022, we started tracking a lot of data with regard to that program. I'm happy to say that before the end of the fiscal year, we'll be giving a presentation to the City Commission on that program into 2023. We'll continue regular meetings with Central Michigan University, the county, township, as well as the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe as well, to foster a very positive relationship going forward. And we'll continue to work with diverse community groups as well. Provide safe accommodations for pedestrians and bicyclists. So here our focus was on the development of trails into the future, the improvement and addition of sidewalk in 2023 as identified in our capital improvements plan, and also to continue to implement our Complete Streets program as well too. Create a community-friendly space in our downtown area. Two main focuses going forward into 2023. One is the creation of a downtown master plan, which will guide future development and activities to take place in the downtown, and also the pursuit of funding for town center redevelopment. Provide great park system and expand our sports, events, and recreation program offerings. So every year we have a lot that goes on in our parks and recreation departments. These folks are very busy. We have committed to 2 projects in particular, though, going into the future that we think will enhance our parks and recreation offerings. One is the recreation needs assessment. Essentially, we would have a consultant come in and they would do some surveying with us to gauge if we are meeting all of our public needs with relation to recreation. So are we meeting all of their needs? Are there gaps in those recreation needs? What are they? And how do we address those needs? And then the second one, prepare a parks maintenance plan, and this will focus on how we can be more efficient utilizing our parks infrastructure now and into the future. Create a sense of place by promoting the Meet Here branding and working to become a cool destination. So I think a lot of what we have talked about so far could fit under this. As we talk about becoming a cool destination, we're talking a place that is walkable, has trails, has a lot of recreation opportunity, has a cool downtown, and that relates to a lot of other things that we've discussed up until this point. But we also feel that'll have to be supported by a good marketing and communication strategy, which we'll develop through 2023. Addressing the housing market demands in our community, including home ownership opportunities. So we're going to review and implement necessary incentive programs to address housing needs here. We've already had 1 meeting so far this year on housing, and we will have at least 1 more before the current fiscal year is done. We will develop a housing plan for 2023 that will carry us forward. And I think really the main goal of that plan could really be summed up with a lot of what took place in our conversations back in March and April. The idea that housing is here and it's available, home ownership is available for individuals in the Mount Pleasant area, and it's available at a responsible price as well too. So I think that'll be the goal of that plan as we develop that into 23. And then of course we'll continue our neighborhood enhancement program as well. Maximize economic vitality on Mission Street. In 23, we look forward to working with a consultant to evaluate design elements for Mission Street improvements to make the area more attractable. And I think it'll also address some of the concerns that we heard in the surveying that was done in coordination with our master plan as well. Prepare the Mount Pleasant Center for future development opportunities. Obviously, we have a portion of this evening's meeting dedicated to discussing this, so we'll get into it more then, but the idea is to move forward with Representative Houck as well as the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe of Michigan to work towards a clean title for the property, move forward with our archaeological study, and then prepare for the creation of a general development and strategy plan for the property from there. So that'll be 2023 in a nutshell. So I'm happy to answer any questions, comments, concerns that the City Commission has at this point.
Commissioner Alsager.
This is not a question, just a comment that I like that it's so thorough. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do appreciate all the work and effort that was put into this, not only with the city commissioners, but also with the staff and the senior management team. I know that when we first started it, it felt like we were maybe butting heads a little bit. They were getting a little frustrated with each other, but I think that we really had the same goals in mind, the same direction. We just were saying them in different ways. So I'm very happy with this report, and I look forward to 23 and making some of the changes that we have placed upon us.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. And from the staff's point of view, thank you very much for the commitment from the City Commission in working on this as well.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? I will entertain a motion for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor to adopt the goals and objectives for 2023, say yes.
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 All those opposed? No. All right. We will move on to the discussion of the land acknowledgement statement. I'll let you get a drink there, Manager DeSantis, before I make you go.
Thank you
into
very
this.
much. All right, so a land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes and respects Native peoples' as traditional stewards of lands. Other institutions such as Central Michigan University and Michigan State University use these statements at the beginning of meetings and in written correspondence. The City Commission had expressed an interest in considering such a statement, so copies of other community and university statements have been included in your packet for your discussion.
All right. It was Commissioner Eke was the one that had brought this up. We had talked about it briefly at the beginning of the year, and then we had decided that this is something that we should probably bring forward because the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe is a partner, a very valuable partner to the city and to the county. So is there anything that anyone would like to see? This would be a statement that we would present at the beginning of each meeting.
I'm familiar with one from the church I attend, and it's basically a paragraph that acknowledges the land ownership, the stewardship, the respect, and it just is a paragraph that includes those aspects. And I
Okay.
probably missed one.
Okay.
I don't have the words for it yet, but I think a statement that also recognizes the traditional governance of the land, like in terms of the fact that we are a governing body and an organizational body, and a respect for not just the custody of the land, but the custody of the civilization. Does that make sense? I don't have the words for it yet, but it's just what popped into my head.
Okay. So something looking at the fact that even though Mount Pleasant is here now and we're the governing body of this city, before we were here, the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe governed this area.
And also the autonomy, what's the word? Sovereignty of the nation currently.
Yes.
As a respect to the standing governing body.
Okay. Any other comments, thoughts on this?
I have a question. I think this is really important, and I'm glad that we're having this discussion. The one that's in our packet is, there's one listed, and it's from 2002. Is that the one that we are looking to adopt, re-adopt into the city of Mount Pleasant?
Really, I wanted to put forward what options we could find. So I know there's a resolution in your packet, and then in my memo too were a couple of statements as well too. So whichever way the city commission wanted to go, if it was to be a resolution, statement at the beginning of the meetings, perhaps both. Just wanted to put some options out there.
Gotcha, that makes sense. Thank you.
Commissioner Alsager?
I do really like the idea that that's how we begin a meeting.
Commissioner Asman, do you have any comments, any thoughts on this?
I'm really indifferent.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I want to comment also, Mount Pleasant Public Schools has recently adopted land acknowledgement statements for their formal ceremony events. So it is something that more organizations are taking into consideration. Green Tree does it at their meetings too.
Okay. So it sounds like having a statement at the beginning of the meeting, recognizing the land that we reside on and the sovereign nation that has been here before us, the peoples that have been here before us, is something that we think would be a good thing. Commissioner Asman, I just feel like you're so far away.
You want me to move down?
Maybe if you move down a little bit, it just feels like you're way over there. But it does, I do like the fact that so many in the area have adopted the statement stating that, we recognize the nation that has been here prior to us. And I think that's very important. And this is something that the city should have done a long time ago, considering, our logo and the things that we talk about and the tribe that we work with. We should really acknowledge them on a higher level as well.
So should we suggest this be send it to staff to write, or?
Yeah, I think so. I would ask Mary Alsager if you would bring in that from from your church, that can also be considered in there. And we can have maybe two or three different options.
Kind of highlight the elements that we like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how the other commissioners feel about this, but I think I would be in favor of having a statement that we say at the beginning of the meetings and a resolution on the books also.
A
We
resolution.
can't do too much, right? Just to have both, I think might be beneficial.
Maybe have a resolution at the beginning, at the next time when we adopt, have a resolution ready to present so that we can read the resolution and then adopt the new wording, the acknowledgement. Yeah. You have enough with that?
Yeah, so just to confirm, we will look at 2 or 3 options for the city commission to review that will accompany a resolution that sets that as the official statement. We'll also work with the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe as well,
Yes.
too, just to make sure we have language, everything clarified through them as well.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, so now we're going to move on to the discussion of the engine braking and/or noise restrictions.
In your city commission packet, you will find some general information regarding engine braking, jake braking, air braking, and all goes by similar names. But the practice of it does have some benefits in terms of efficiency for the vehicle. However, it does come with a major drawback in that it creates a great deal of noise. City Commission has received a request to consider a ban of the use of this braking system within the city limits. We did place 2 ordinance examples from other Michigan municipalities in your City Commission packet. The Commission is asked to consider if an ordinance banning this should be considered for adoption by the City Commission.
Are there any questions? Commissioner Asman?
Yeah, I have a question. Is it an overall ban or would it be a ban? You know how you say you can't park on the road, or used to say you can't park on the road between the hours of X and Y? Is it, or is it just an overall, you can't do this, and how do you enforce that?
I'd have to leave the enforcement question to our Public Safety Director, Paul Loria. With regard to the first question, though, whether it's an overall ban, I'm sure we could look at other options if there was an interest in banning between certain hours or maybe even in certain districts, such as a residential district. I think those could be options that we could look at.
As far as the enforcement, it's difficult. It's kind of like the texting while driving. You know, that has been problematic for us. Not to say that it can't be done, but when it rises to the level, there has to be some training, you know, because it's essentially using the engine to brake or slow the heavy truck down. And there's a distinct sound that we'll have to make sure our officers are aware of. So,
I guess I have a follow-up question. Are you creating any safety issues by not using it with a heavy loaded vehicle or a truck and trailer?
I mean, I would venture to guess, I have not driven one of those types of vehicles,
Right.
but I would venture to guess that there would be an argument. I don't know how valid of an argument, but there would be mention of it. I know the efficiency is one thing, but then the safety of overuse of the brakes. But again, in the city, because other cities have adopted similar ordinances, in the city, the speed shouldn't be that great.
Right.
So it's not like you're taking I'm gonna use gravel train, that's probably inappropriate, but the gravel train from 60 down to, you know, a quick stop. So we have to take into consideration the speeds, which, you know, 35, 40, currently is too fast for them through the city anyways.
Mhm.
But be that as it may, it would, you're not dealing with high speeds, so I think that negates, the argument of a safety issue per se, to not be able to use it.
Commissioner Alsteiger?
What I've seen as I enter other cities is a sign that just says that engine braking is not permitted. It doesn't give hours or anything like that. It's just one sign at the major entrances.
I imagine that, yeah, many operators are familiar with those signs and those regulations. And then, as Officer Loria said, with the speeds in a city, it shouldn't typically be an issue. And so I feel like it's just a consideration measure for residents in our residential area where this is affected, that other cities have done. And I don't think it'll be a huge compromise for our truck operators.
Commissioner Alsteiger?
One other comment I have is that whether you enter Mount Pleasant from the north, south, east, or west, from every direction, there's a slowdown as you come into town.
Yes,
So that's nothing new. It's been that way.
yes.
I will say, and I'm not unsympathetic to this issue, but I will say that I sit on probably the most main street in the entire city in a pretty prime location for business, and I don't hear it on a daily basis.
Yeah, but I
So I'm just
do
wondering.
believe that this gentleman lives on Pickard. Yeah, and when it's Pickard it's on the west side? What, is it Pickard on this side of Mission or on that side?
East or west?
On the west side, yeah, where they have the double lanes, and you have the Mount Pleasant Center on one side, and then you have
Ah,
homes on the other.
okay.
Yeah,
Ah,
Probably just for deliveries to those businesses, I would guess.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a topic way over my head.
yeah. Well, I know that I used to live on Pickard on the west side there, and you would hear the trucks when they would go through, because they'd come up over that hill, and then they'd have to brake fast because there were cars coming out of the side streets. And that's when they would use it. And typically, I think that 35, nobody drives 35 on Pickard over there, nobody. So, and certainly not the trucks. So I can see them using that to slow themselves down quickly as they come closer. Mhm. Mhm.
Miles an hour, then it's 90. If the vehicle gross rating of 85 pounds or more, then it is 90 dBA if the maximum lawful speed on the highway is greater than 35, 86 if it's less than 35. So that's one issue that we need to explore, is whether this is a preemption issue, because 257.707E says you cannot adopt an ordinance that conflicts with this statutory scheme for noise. And so if this is all about regulating noise, then you would have to comply, one, with this section to determine whether or not those Jake brakes violated those sound level decibels
Okay.
for that specific mile per hour. Now, I don't know the answer to that because there are federal regulations that apply as well. And so within the whole scheme of that, I just want to be cautious about trying to do something too quickly without knowing whether or not you're preempted under the vehicle code by enacting an ordinance that may or may not be lawful. I know other jurisdictions have done it. That's not the real question. The real question is, how many have they prosecuted? Because in, I don't know, 23 years now of practice representing municipalities, we've never prosecuted a violation of a Jake brake ordinance. And we have several clients that have them. I just don't know that they're that enforceable or that anybody has sought to enforce them based on that purpose. And so if you said, well, we're enacting this ordinance because of the noise, that's fine, except that there's a carve out then for noise under 86 dBA, 35 mile an hour or less. Above that, it's a violation of the law anyways, and you can ticket them based on noise.
Okay.
And I want to just bring up one other thing. We have had several residents complain numerous times about exhaust noise. And if you listen in, on a calm night, it is disruptive. It is what I consider a quality of life issue. And so there was a directive to take enforcement, and we purchased decibel meters and everything that measure that. And since October of last year, since that directive came out, I bet you we have written probably 80 tickets, and these aren't borderline tickets, but we hear a lot of the time that the cost of repairs is high and people can't afford it. And so there's that balancing act of having some empathy and having some comfort. So we have taken a very proactive stance on the exhaust, not specifically the Jake braking too, but I think the exhaust is a bigger problem than just on a regular basis because there's more vehicles on the road.
Is there any data out there that indicates whether or not, even if it's not enforceable, that the signs are effective in any way?
If they know you're not going to enforce it,
Right.
I can tell you, and I go back to this whole texting while driving thing. You stop somebody, and the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, "That's putting in a phone number." And you don't even, they know the area. So if they know you're not going to enforce, you can put all the signs you want. There's got to be consequence, I guess, is what I'm saying.
So would it be better that we maybe, because they're using this Jake braking to slow themselves down, right? Would it be better to monitor that strip of road and keep them slower?
Maybe, but we've also, as a community, have promoted that as the truck route through
Yes.
Mount Pleasant. So there has been considerable education done on the ring road, as they called it, that we needed to, remember, we were gonna narrow it down to a single lane a few years ago. And, don't do that because heavy truck traffic and those sorts of things, we're sending a lot of mixed messages.
Well, I agree that that could be, that is a better route for trucks
Right.
than down High Street. But,
I'm just saying that we have to be careful with the messaging of use this path or road when you're traversing Mount Pleasant and you're heading over to the east towards Saginaw in Midland, but while you do it,
drive the speed limit.
yeah, so.
Yeah. No, I get it. But it seems like if we're going to be, it seems like this is a difficulty for them because they need to slow down suddenly. And a lot of that does have, because that is an area where there are hills and small roads that come out. And I know that I have difficulty driving 35 because everyone else is driving faster. So it is difficult because it is a larger road too. So I think that that's definitely something that we should look at, maybe more enforcement to slow them down too.
And I don't know off the top of my head whether or not a truck with a Jake brake traveling on a road that is lawful speed limit is 35 or less, whether a Jake brake produces more than 86 dBA at 50 feet. Because that's the standard. If they do, then they're already in violation of the Michigan Vehicle Code and can be cited appropriately. If they don't, then they're lawful and you can't adopt an ordinance that says they're unlawful.
Yeah. So how do we measure that?
You gotta be in the right place at the right time and the low red with a decibel meter that's picking up every sound within the vicinity, whereas a vehicle, you have a stationary test.
Yeah.
You have a stationary test and what they call a run-up test. I don't know as though I want my officers doing a run-up test with a semi running alongside it while they hit the Jake brake. I don't think
that'd be very safe.
I think one of the things that I need to do is talk to the Michigan State Police, the Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division, and see how they do their enforcement of it. And I can report back to the city manager in the form of a memo so that you guys can see what I find out. But I think that would be a good first step.
Okay. Commissioner Alsager?
I just have a thought, since now I'm more aware of the actual issue. What if there would be a kind of a warning sign saying reduced speed limit ahead? So the thinking process then becomes, I better start braking sooner.
This is slightly mission creep, but actually that's funny because it relates to Mission Creek Park. And I know there's been some discussion about making sure that the park is accessible and safe for pedestrians and cyclists to access from the rest of the trail system, and that's a goal of our park system. And so I think preparing for that in terms of safety and speed and enforcement is going to be important, not to mention future development at the Mount Pleasant Center. I mean, I think we should be prepared for that area to look a little bit different, and maybe we do need to start, moving away from having, that be a truck route.
Well, I think that that's going to continue to be a truck route.
Well, I guess then that's a little, yeah, but we do need to be considerate of safety and the use that's happening there. I mean, it already is a safety issue, the pedestrian crossing, to get into the public space on the other side of Pickard.
I agree. Director Lori, I would welcome a memo, definitely, after you speak with the state police, and let us know how they handle that stuff. I'd also, because if they have a special way to do it, I'm not the kind of person that likes to reinvent the wheel. I like to definitely, use what's already working. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay. Well, it seems like we just need a little bit more information. All right, we're going to move on to announcements on city-related issues and new business. Are there any commissioners that have anything they would like to say at this time? You guys are pretty quiet tonight.
I am interested in a brief meeting, but I do want to bring something up that has been brought to me by a few constituents, and I was wondering if, going forward, if any commissioners wanted to consider a discussion on backyard chicken keeping in the city of Mount Pleasant. It's something that many other cities of our size, he doesn't like it. Okay, well.
We're not talking roosters, we're talking
No,
hens.
yeah, roosters would automatically, nobody allows roosters. Yeah, nobody allows roosters, yes, that's the noise ordinance thing again. But in the interest of, traditional use of our community and food sustainability, I mean, we are, as a nation and a world, moving towards, some food sustainability issues, and these are traditional practices in the city, in this community. And anyway, just if anybody's interested, in discussing that, one-on-one or going forward, just let me know.
I think that we have had that brought up before.
Yeah, has it been a few years or?
I think it was last year.
Was it just last year? Okay.
Yeah, but it never made
Okay.
it to the agenda. But I agree, the only thing that, when we talk about sustainability, and food sustainability and such like that, is that, raising your own, fowl, like chicken, because you're looking for meat and you're looking for eggs from them, in order to get eggs year round, you have to be able to give them a source of light throughout the year, because they will not lay if it's dark for too many hours.
Right.
This comes from somebody who raised chickens when I was young.
Right,
So-
but you don't necessarily, you can also give them a break during the winter. I mean,
Yeah, but if and it costs money to, unless
Yeah.
you're going to constantly feed them throughout the year, that costs money unless you're going to free range them.
Well, that wouldn't be
and
the
if you're
city's
free-ranging-
problem.
Yeah. No, but it would be the individual that wants to
Right,
do
right,
it. They
right,
may
right.
get into something that's a
Right.
little more costly than what they think.
Right. Well, so is gardening, but people do that too.
Yep. That's true. Any other comments from the city commission? All right, at this time, I will open up public comment on agenda and non-agenda items. You may come to the podium, state your name and address, and you'll be given 5 minutes. If you're joining us by Zoom, you may use the raised hand feature or *9 to raise your hand if you're joining Zoom by phone. When you're let into the meeting, you will need to state your name and address, and you'll be given 5 minutes. Thank you.
Douglas Collins, and I live in Winchester Towers, apartment 413, and I'm talking about making the bike that cars make too much noise, and I guess bicyclists really depend upon hearing to be able to know what's going on. So I'd like to see that stuff enforced. And the Native Americans, I guess get it on the. I've heard a couple of times, and my mother said the Japanese culture is almost like has certain similarities to the Native Americans, and also heard that the Eskimos are identical to the Chinese. And I got on the internet, the Native Americans came over from about 250 to 800 AD from Central Asia to the United States. So I don't know, they're not really Native Americans either.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to step to the podium?
Hello, Bree Mogenberg from Mount Pleasant. So I'm not a person that gets a lot of anxiety talking about things. However, I do get a lot of anxiety talking about what I want to bring up to you again. I haven't heard from anybody, and I've received no response in regards to a really concerning topic when I had mentioned to you that we have somebody working in the public parks that has had PPOs against him last year. This is highly concerning. I have spoke to the county prosecutor. I've also spoke to the administrative controller of the county. And it seems as though this is something that could be very beneficial to the safety of the people that are in the parks. What I'm asking you is to get a response to hear from you, to see something, to have it put on the agenda as an item, to adopt a policy that people working within the public parks for public safety, for this county, for this city, are going to be vetted more appropriately, and the question will be asked if they have had a past PPO against them. And I say this because a background search is going to be clear. You're not going to see that they've had a past PPO. If there is no current lien with the PPO against them, you're not going to see that. So I ask that you adopt a policy to protect the people that are within this park. And afterwards, I actually ask that I speak to some of you because I'd like to show you something. And I have had the opportunity, Aaron, to meet with you. And again, I'm going to ask that this is put down on the agenda to be a discussion that takes place publicly so that people can hear what's going to happen in regards to making sure we vet the candidates, the applicants better that are working in public safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience?
Hi, I'm Kelly Fountain. Just a little note on the J-breaking stuff. About 3-4 years ago, I used to live on High Street, just next to Crapo and High. And I mean, I lived right on High there. And for last 5 years, all the trucks would come up Isabella, fly up, because it was, I think it's 45 down at the start of High there, and then it comes right down into residential really fast. And right there is a 4-way stop, and they all J-brake. They just all night long. That was one of those things that we sold our house for, because it was so noisy. That 4-way corner is horrible. They know that they can cut through and go up, they can go right up Isabella, go straight right out to Remus right from there. So they hit that 4-way at Crapo, they don't know it's always there. So then they have to hurry up and slam on their brakes at like 3 a.m. So that was really one of the reasons why we had to sell our house, because it was just, it's extremely noisy, because you go right from, I'm not sure if that part of High Street between Isabella and Crapo is all residential or if it's a mixture, I'm not sure. But they fly right up into there and right in front of our house every day, because I lived at 1609 East High there, Marion High, and that's where they started the braking. And it was, all you hear was all night long. So I understand where you're coming from. And I know High Street was not a truck route, but yet why wouldn't they cut through? Nobody's going to catch them. So that's just something to think about. They are finding shortcuts, and they're going to go right through all your residential areas to get by. So just thought I'd let you know. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't catch your current address.
Oh, I am now at 811 South Franklin. I mean, I get to hear it there too. It's on, just off of High Street also, but at least I'm a little bit farther off because they catch those lights. So it's like, so just thought I'd let you know.
Thank you. Is there anyone in Zoom that would wish to speak at this time?
There are no raised hands.
Do we have any emails?
No, we do not.
All right. This time I'm going to close the public comment. We will go to a short recess. After we return from the recess, we are going to go into closed session we're going to consider the closed session pursuant of Section 8(1)(e) of the Open Meetings Act to consult with the city attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with pending litigation in pure relief in North Union LLC versus City of Mount Pleasant, 216511, CJO Services and In-East Services versus City of Mount Pleasant, 20-16504, and Carry Investments versus City of Mount Pleasant, Court of Appeals, case number 357862, for the reason that an open meeting would have a detrimental detrimental financial effect on the litigating or settlement position of the city, and to discuss written confidential legal opinions with the city attorney pursuant of Section 81H of the Open Meetings Act. We will go to a
Recess.
recess. We'll go to a 5-minute recess. Do I have to have a vote on that? To go into the,
We need to vote on the closed session.
Yes,
And
that's
then
what I
do
thought.
the recess, we can vacate the chamber.
so I am going to ask for a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
All those in favor, say yes.
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 Excuse
All
me,
those-
we need a roll call
roll
for
call.
that, Mayor.
Okay, sorry.
Commissioner Bush,
Yes.
Commissioner Asman,
Yes.
Commissioner Alsager,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simon,
Yes.
Mayor Perschbacher.
Yes,
Motion carries.
okay, motion carries. We'll go into a closed session after a 5-minute recess. Thank you.